yes, this is good. This is good. You're going to start to see a cultural pushback. And as much as moderator or, the people at the top of places like Twitch might look at Hassan as their golden boy when it comes to politics.
Oh, yeah.
Once it starts hitting there, the public perception is so negative that it's affecting their bottom line.
Oh, no, look at that.
You're going to start to see a change. And then people like Hassan that wouldn't have said shit when I was getting banned on places like YouTube because of comments I made about the 2020 election or comments I made about the origins of the pandemic or lockdowns, etc. All of a sudden, he'll cry foul. David Pakman was doing it earlier this year. I'm losing subs. What's happening? Only Mr. Bill, another $2 says, will you let your kid win at sports as he ages? Yeah. Like when I'm playing him.
I fucking love that guy. He's a good guy.
But obviously, as time goes on, Wonty Crow knows. He's seen the lefties argue. Rob, don't bring up insert.
All right, I found what I needed.
We need to address January 6th. Right. Saw this today was Scott Bassett was talking to someone and was like, actually, both sides do it. What about January 6th? One incident. 6 years or 5 years ago at this point.
My goodness, it's more of a fucking
is equivalent
than I thought it was.
To the hundreds upon hundreds of incidences. All of the riots we saw from Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Now, that's not to say that January 6th is the only example of a right-winger doing something crazy. But that's the one they bring up all the time to show the huge disparity when it comes to political violence. Oh, Joe says, what's the name of the guy we're about? Austin Hall. This goofy bastard. Look at him. $357 a day is highly unreasonable.
That is allowed because they have carve-outs for certain things that are art or expression that aren't just, clearly what they
Oh, my goodness. These folks are so funny sometimes. I'm going to tell you what.
I think it should be censored. You think it should just be totally taken on a one-by-one basis. That's what you keep on saying. You've been saying since your opening statement, your closing statement. Yes, so you don't believe it should be censored. So you are conceding to this particular prompt.
If saying that a judge, you can't just have a law that says if you do this thing, and I can think of an exception where I wouldn't be okay with it, is conceding.
I don't even know about this shit right now. I'm gonna be honest right now.
Conceding.
How? It is.
Hold on, please.
So when you say that you wouldn't ban
or do we not? Or do we let the courts deal with it?
You know what?
I'm sorry.
The judicial system exists insofar as judges need to do this all the time for so many laws, right? Murder is illegal. Killing is not illegal because sometimes we can say, wait a minute, that wasn't murder. We need to have that discretion. And I think there's no significant difference.
We already have that.
We do. Yeah. Star?
Yes.
I think I'm just drawing a distinction between judicial and censorship.
Right. So where do you think censorship is?
Judicial side. And I am against the censorship, right? So I agree with you. I actually like the things you're saying, but I don't think we should.
What's censorship then, Vibe? Can you define what you would call censorship?
Can we all just acknowledge that judicial?
We're now not allowed to say all these things that hurt people's feelings, that make them feel like they might be attacked. Like, I mean, I can say to my next door neighbor, I don't like the way they grow their grass. And they might take that as a threat if they're a certain type of person. Other people will be like, "Oh, he doesn't like it," right?
You shouldn't ban all of these things just because someone's offended. I think the reason I keep bringing up this cross thing is that this is so explicit, and the court had to look at it had to go all the way up to the Supreme Court, and they were able to see, hey, given the context of this isn't just my fifis are hurt, right? Like someone said, sneered at a black person, and they're like, oh, I don't feel welcome in this neighborhood, therefore you shouldn't be able to sneer at a black person. This was a very contextualized, very, very historical precedent. Oh, when people do this, when they burn this cross, this is a call to violence, or at least an intimidation tactic to get them out of a place.
Okay,
which
are
is
you
a
familiar?
different way of
which is I absolutely love that this is the cross you want to die on, because your cross argument, which is your go-to, is not.
Oh, she does this when everything gets fucked up and everybody's being retarded.
All right. Flow State sent a big 10 in on Cash App. Says, bring me back for Evan. Time out, Sarcastic Saint. Sarcastic Saint, I timed you out in the chat for 5 minutes, but you should be coming back here shortly. And then, of course, King TL sent 10 gifted Gauntlet memberships. Thank you, King TL.
Not all he sent.
And then, of course, Sarcastic Saint tried to get Flo out to bring back Tits McGee. We loved it. We were all excited. And then he also says, Teriak, can you please do your part?
They were after me Lucky Charms, but they couldn't get them because I went on a rainbow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Dance.
Thank you, sir. And Evan Lord was sponsoring to have the watermelons back on screen. And he also says Pride Month is canceled. It is Jurassic June and the beginning of White Boy Summer. What the hell is
I can
Jurassic
get behind that.
June?
I don't know. What is it?
We're
Chet
having
Hanks-
dinosaur parades now. Fucking
Chet
more
Hanks
gay
declared White Boy Summer 2 years ago, buddy. You're late.
Oh, what
my
is
God.
White
used to
Boy
do a show.
Summer?
But Jurassic June is
This
a new one
terrible
for me.
person.
That's
Oh,
Jurassic Month is a new one for sure.
What?
We
Yeah,
can
what is
celebrate
it? Does
both.
anybody
What
know
is
what it
it?
is?
You have
White
to
Boy
have
Summer.
Summer the whole summer
Oh,
or the whole
goodness.
month.
I don't want to be
Even Almighty Nate is in on keeping Watermelon Crushers on screen. And of course, your horse video is sponsored by Kissy Cat on to send her love over to K2 Keep on Trucking. I love this little thing they got going. I mean, are they a thing? And then King TL, of course, comes in with a big 20. FYI, Sarah and Nova, you owe me a date still from our E-date that is documented. You would E-date me again. And I didn't timestamp or put on a hard drive that both you women said yes. I don't know.
Ladies.
I doubt it. Show the receipts, King.
What
I
he's
doubt
proving
I
is
would
that
agree
women
to this.
do lie. All right, women do lie. We shouldn't believe all women.
I don't.
Well,
Where do
then
you
show
live?
the receipts.
King TL, where do you live? I don't remember.
I
Remember,
thought he
he's
was
the
in
one who's
Look at
Colorado.
him gaslighting you.
It's like North Dakota or something.
No, I thought it was Colorado. I know he's in the mountain range or something like, or maybe Utah. I don't know, one of the weird ones.
North Dakota.
And nah, I think I'm pretty sure it was Colorado. Anyways,
Yeah, I think you're right, and I know he's constantly covered in baby oil, which I mean, given more recent situations,
now
I don't know if he
listen,
still is.
You're thinking of Diddy.
He was
No,
covered
Sarah.
in no. I remember the baby oil conversation. He held up
Yeah.
some cheap ass like
Yep.
Timu baby oil, and we were all like, "What the fuck is that?" Johnson & Johnson, baby, you know it. Anyways,
That's the only baby oil. That's the only one that
He
actually
was getting
matters.
ready for his spot in
She's
Fast
right
and
about that.
Furious 10 or 11
Okay, I don't
or
care about
12
show
or whichever one.
Can we at least acknowledge just real quick that censorship is dangerous?
Yes, very much so.
Yep.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Soy, can you at least acknowledge that?
Like it
Censorship-
can be.
It's
Yeah,
like
I'm
trying to
all-
legislate
yeah.
morality. You can't.
Well,
do it.
We legislate morality all the time.
what we should
Well,
do
we're
is
trying to. We're trying to. But
I
the
don't think
point
it's
is that
that-
you can't.
Killing is immoral only insofar as we've defined it because we as a society think it is. That's legislating morality. That's what all laws are derived from a societal morality.
What happens
should
when,
do-
No,
That's
that's not.
okay, when a group
not
feels
ethical.
excluded, when a group feels excluded that they can't participate in the discourse, when they can't do what is called venting, we call it venting for a reason, right? I'm venting about this person, I'm venting about this group, I'm venting about the gays, the Jews, the blacks, the Muslims, the whoever, right? The whites.
Oh my god,
the
this
wickers,
fucking racist, fucking communist piece of shit.
Plug
I
that
swear.
vent
He
up.
didn't say what you thought he said.
I'm ashamed to be associated with the same branch of the military as this guy.
Don't worry. When look,
You know, Wick was part of the Air Force. That's
Okay.
what he claims. I don't have any evidence to discount that claim, but I am disappointed by that.
You can't just come up yapping.
Right.
when you plug that vent up, it leads to an explosion. Because if you silence people, right, if you keep them from talking, they're still going to want to be heard, and they're going to choose non-verbal ways to be heard. I have a study. Yeah, I know you love it. It's a longitudinal study from 1990 to 2015, okay, where they looked at 18 Western European countries. So we're not even looking at America here. And they looked at, what's the connection between right-wing violence, right-wing terroristic violence, and censorship and things like that. And interesting find, and I'll just read you the abstract here. The end of the abstract says the article concludes by highlighting the paradox that countermeasures intended to constrain radical right politics appear to fuel extreme right-wing violence. Because of course it does. When people can no longer be heard through their words, through their speech, they will turn to other methods to be heard. And censorship is incredibly, incredibly harmful and dangerous to not only the discourse, but to the society as a whole.
So I understand this, but what I gotta say is that while I might agree with you that certain amounts of censorship are bad, and clearly, I mean, yeah, if you censor people in certain ways that are fueling more violence, I do disagree with certain ways of censorship as well. I'm not like some ultimately, censorship absolutist, but you got to look at like, certain examples of like when and when not this is okay. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, like the time that you censored me, Wick, that was probably fucking completely inappropriate.
So loud. Your mic is so loud.
I'm telling you.
Loud?
When did I censor you?
Holy shit.
I've been telling him
time.
for a month now to move the mic a foot away from his face.
I think with Wick, I think the thing with Wick, at least I'll acknowledge that Wick is making an argument. Teriak didn't make an argument, and I would like to consider what you're saying in more detail.
First of all,
Wick, in my own time.
Yeah,
but
first of all,
Teriak, it's interesting when you prepare for debates. When you prepare for debates, it's interesting how you can like formulate arguments and like bring something to the table.
Neve, you just said that I didn't make an argument when you were the one who was saying that the concentration camps weren't as bad as what Donald Trump was doing.
Well,
so,
Wick arguing the opposing side posited something into the discussion that made me pause.
You justified concentration camps.
I am willing.
That's an automatic L.
My ego isn't really attached to my argument here. Okay, so I'm willing.
Yeah, but you're saying I can't make an argument, and you made an argument
because you literally can't. Because you literally can't. I think you have the quickest concession on a debate possibly ever with your debate with millennial your debate with millennial.
All I had to do.
Come on, camera. Piece of shit. What am I hearing?
You showed up with one argument, Teriak, last time.
Don't make me separate the two of you. Stop it.
Can we just full screen Nova for a while?
I want to ask a question.
Go ahead, Nova. Ask.
Hi.
Can you do it standing up?
You made the point that when free speech is being, censored, you have groups that come up, right? And then they start demonstrating violence, like what? Black Lives Matters, Antifa. Right.
If you were under the impression that I'm here to defend Black Lives Matter,
no. But I'm using that as an example. Secondarily, that what those groups are actually doing falls under Homeland Security terrorist threats and acts of violence. You do understand that, right? Does anybody on the panel understand that?
Do you think that their words and phrasing should be censored by the government? That Antifa saying Black Lives Matter or I want to punch a fascist in the face. Do you think the government should be able to arrest them for their speech?
Not for that, no. But when they're talking
not for
about,
that, we agree
no,
on that.
Yes, we agree on that.
Obviously, if they engage in violence, they should be punished for that violence. But my argument tonight, and I think that you might agree, you might not, I don't even know who you are, but
sure.
It's nice to meet you. That they can say whatever they like, and the government shouldn't be able to touch them. But what's happening is, and under the Trump administration, we see one of the greatest attacks on free speech we've ever seen. You can write an op-ed that is critical of Israel, and they will snatch you from the street.
That's false.
Throw you in a prison for weeks.
False. Completely false.
Just
all of that is false.
Wick, let me save you, Wick. Let me save you, Wick. Are you saying, Wick, is your argument based? It's like, let them say all this like shit, like so they show you who you are, and then you can tie it back so the public knows exactly.
Here's what's happening, Wick. You're completely mischaracterizing the situation. Okay,
kind of nonsense.
You're completely mischaracterizing the situation. The ICE is not driving down the street in black vans. ICE is not driving. ICE is not driving down the street and picking up people and throwing them in gulags. Okay, what's actually happening is that people with journalistic visas or academic visas are being revoked. Their visas are being revoked. Their visas are being revoked. Wick, if you can, please just let me finish what I'm saying. Their visas are being revoked, and when those visas get revoked, those people get deported. That's what happens. And so there are a number of reasons. There are a number of reasons. There are a number of reasons why people's visas get revoked.
Answer my question.
There are a number of reasons why people's visas get revoked. Some of those is speaking out against the country. Some of those is participating in terrorist activities. Some of those is participating in protest activities which actually prevent Americans from doing what they normally do, which is go to college, going to class, getting into the library, this type of stuff, especially on campuses like Harvard. So some of the most prestigious campuses in the fucking world, where people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars every single semester to go to school. You're blocking these people from going to campus, going to class, going to the library. You're stopping people from investing in American education, and you're on a student visa. You're gonna get that revoked. Yeah, you're out.
Okay, so again, I'll ask your question now that you're done rambling. I'll ask it again. Do you think people's visas, who are here on student visas, who are here in the country legally, their student visas should be revoked based on their speech? Do you think that's true? Do you think that should?
Yeah, a visa is an invitation. If you sequester the points of the invitation, then you deserve to be revoked.
Who believes in the Constitution of the United States of America, someone who has fought for our country, right?
Okay, I'm sorry. Someone who has fought for this country. I fought for this country too, Wick. I fought for this country too, Wick. And I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed to be part of the same branch of the service as you. I really am.
Because you're an oath breaker.
I'm not an oath breaker. I've never broken my oath. I've never broken my oath in this country. Never once. Never once, brother. Never fucking once. Yes, sir.
Read the First Amendment to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It says you have freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of expression.
Yes, everyone does. So
under the law,
advocate for people to rescind.
Not everyone, sir. Not everyone. American citizens. American citizens. American citizens. My camera's blurry. I'm sorry.
Breaking your oath.
I'm not breaking my oath by saying that the American Constitution only applies to American citizens. I'm not breaking my oath.
We have evidence that that's not true. SCOTUS has ruled on this again and again and again, that First Amendment does apply to even immigrants.
Humbug. Okay, so it can apply to immigrants. It can apply to immigrants. It does not apply to visa holders. Visa holders are not immigrants. Visa holders are people. Visa holders are guests of the nation at the behest of the State Department. That's what they are. And if the head of the State Department determines that you are no longer worthy of that guestmanship, then be gone.
Yes, and I am saying my argument here is that when the government is determining what that they're no longer worthy of their visa because of their speech, that is a gross violation of their free speech.
But what we're talking about is people who hold visas. We're not talking about American citizens. Is that correct? Can we agree on that? We can agree on that. You said you don't care, but we can agree on that. Yes.
Okay. Do you think
we can agree that we're talking about visa holders, not American citizens?
I didn't hear you. Repeat it, please.
Calm down, gentlemen. Calm down.
Elva, you always call me, and it's okay. I don't know you, but
thank you.
My goodness.
I love you, gingers. You're my kind of guy.
I'm not a ginger. I proved that to Sarah earlier today, didn't I, Sarah?
Oh,
or yesterday.
I just got up here. I'm so sorry. I just tuned in.
That's okay.
All right. Who's next to speak? Ed, would you like to speak? Wick, would you like to speak?
I would like to speak. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate you. So, EOD, do you think the people of Russia should have free speech?
I don't think that it's our responsibility to enforce free speech in Russia.
Okay, I'm not asking if we should enforce it. I'm asking, do you think that they should have it as a concept?
I mean, I think it would be just if Russia would allow their people to have free speech, yes.
Sure. You would like for the people of Russia to have the ability to free speech, but they're not Americans.
That's correct, which means it's not my responsibility to enforce that.
Okay, I understand. But if a Russian citizen is in America,
fucking camera,
should we allow them the chance to have free speech? Because we can't enforce it in America, right?
Oh, okay. Wait a minute now. You said we can't enforce it in America. We can enforce it in America, and we do enforce it in America quite frequently.
Okay. Should that Russian citizen be allowed to free speech in America?
In America. Yes. To a certain extent. If they're on a student visa, if they're on an invitation, it's questionable. If they're a citizen, if that person is a Russian-born person who has immigrated into America and assimilated into American culture and become a citizen of the United States, absolutely, they should have free speech.
I don't think that a government should, whether Biden, Trump, Obama, Bush, Clinton, doesn't matter. We should not be in the business of inviting people to our country and saying, you better fucking watch what you say while you're here. I think that is antithetical to the concept of free speech.
I think what's antithetical
as American citizens, we should not invite them to our country and say, okay, you can stay here as long as you don't fucking criticize the government, you fucking Russian.
I think what's antithetical to America is inviting people on visas, which are invitations, which are guest leisures into the country, and saying that you can just say all the anti-American things you want to say, even though you're on a guest visa, even though you're invited by the State Department in order to come into our country, even though you're on some leeway that is specially provised to you specifically because you have a visa, whether it's student or work or whatever. This is a guest kind of fucking situation. You're not under the same rights as every single individual citizen of the United States. The Constitution, I don't think, extends beyond the citizenry of the United States. I think that's a nomenclature, and I think it's a huge misstep by the leftists to try and encompass the entire world inside of our own Constitution. I think our Constitution cannot and could not and will never not extend beyond the citizenry of the United States.
Visa holders be protected by the 8th Amendment. The cruel and unusual punishment.
That's not cruel and unusual punishment, though, honey.
No, I'm asking conceptually. Should we, the visa holder, have protection under the 8th Amendment?
Wait, don't kick him yet. I have a question for him. Wait, sir, before you make EOD go, EOD, your hashtag is Make McCarthyism Great Again. Do you think the government should be able to censor communist, sympathizers who are American citizens?
We used to.
I don't care if we used to. I'm asking if he thinks we should.
Why would you? Why would you?
I'm asking if you. I'm sorry. Are you guys EOD? I asked EOD.
Give me my 5 minutes, Sarah. I'll come back.
Talk, so I figured I'd jump in for a second.
Well, I believe you count as the redhead too. He said, "Send all the gingers to the back."
We do now. Yes, I'm actually brunette, but yes. All right, I'm gone. I guess.
All right, to the redheads in the back.
On is also kind of gingery,
And then
how am I ginger?
I wanna. Sorry, I want to. Daniel sent clarification and mute yourself. Stop being stupid. Daniel sent the big 5 to said the Mug Club shout out was for Teriak. I don't care about Soy's fake beer mug. Soy Crowder is an American citizen born in Michigan. Dummy.
Pretty sure he's Canadian.
Really?
But I could be wrong. You probably watch more Stephen Crowder than me.
His mom's from Quebec. He was born in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, but he's both.
Okay, so
he
speaks. He's not Canadian.
He speaks French. He's Canadian as fuck.
He's from the same state as me. Another reason to dislike that guy.
And Evan Lord with the Big 10 says, I'm one happy man because today I paid off all my student loans. Tomatoes in the chat for our darling Evan Lord. Shout out to you. I was going to argue that increasing central government power is the idea and censorship is necessary and is good. Anyone have some thoughts to add to that?
Evan Lord is trolling. He should have said that on the panel with his chest, but now he's in the chat lobbing shit with super chats.
I think the problem with
get your ass back on here, Evan Lord.
Make left-wing things. It's so easy to sniff them out. You got to be a little more.
Censorship is a vast term. We need more details on what they mean.
No, they're just being like, "Oh, I love being evil. Don't we love being gay and worshiping Satan, fellow lefties?"
No, I mean, if you don't talk about doing it, that's fine. Some people don't do that.
If you can't trust individuals to have free speech, how can you trust individuals to restrict speech?
So let's step this up from the bottom.
You got a good one for you. Go ahead. Let that happen.
Something super simple here, right? Let's say I own a burger stand, and one of my employees every day he shows up. Me and my wife work the burger stand.
Why are you complicating a
he
question I just threw out there?
Let him finish the hypothetical. Let him finish it.
Oh, I missed that. Sorry, Powder. Go ahead.
I just want to say,
don't let Powder go ahead. He interrupted you.
Hold on. I just want to say.
I interrupted you. I apologize.
I have to go check on a child really quick, but I'm going to leave Wick in charge. Wick, it is now your panel for the next 3 minutes. And if I come back and Wick says any of you were misbehaving.
Wow, that's a terrible decision.
Let's do it,
Vibe, why are you apologizing to the person that interrupted you? That's crazy.
Oh, I thought you said he asked a question. I missed it.
It caught me off guard, too.
I missed the question he asked, but...
He punched you in the face and you apologize.
What's going on with this burger
apologies accepted, Neve. The question was, if you can't trust individuals to have free speech, why do you trust individuals to restrict speech?
I think this is a weird dichotomy you've placed me in, where it's like, oh, I can know that there's something bad that someone could say, but if I'm acknowledging that someone can say something so bad that it might cause violence or harm to someone, I therefore can't trust that a judge who has gone through 20 years of schooling to try to determine whether or not these things should be pushed in one way or the other also shouldn't be trusted. No, I'm sorry. I can trust the judicial system, and I don't
trust the judicial system.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So actually, I want to step back to my original question, because I think, Dusty, what you're talking about is the next question. Right.
Okay,
so
going
back to my original
you own a
question,
burger
right?
stand.
Fuck you, Wobbly.
I own this burger stand, right? And my wife and I work there, and we've got 3 employees. And one of the employees shows up every day, and he says, "Damn, your wife is hot. I would fuck her."
Okay. It's just fucking content filler, I reckon.
Okay. Now, did I infringe on his free speech? Because he
that's
Wobbly says
that's sexual harassment.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Okay, so
Wobbly says, "Shut up, bitch, and show me your titties." Oh, there's my titties, Wobbly. All right. That's sorry. I don't even know what these fuckers are talking about anyway. You know, this is trash vibe I don't know about. Wick I hate. For a lot of reasons. Soy Bill I'm not particularly fond of. Neve I'm not particularly fond of. Fatty I'm not particularly fond of, but this is Fatty